What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and today it's the team selection video, weekly video that I do every single week, looking at how my team's shaping up for the following game week, and also having a quick review of how I did the previous game week. So I'm going to go through how I did last week in game week 2, which is nowhere near as good as game week 1, it's fair to say. Then look at any transfer options I make, and I had 2 free transfers, so I've definitely used them, and I've used them already. I actually did the transfers on Monday night, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then who I'm looking at captain as well. So let's just jump straight into it and see how I did in game week 2. So a quick look at how I did in game week 2. Definitely wasn't as good as game week 1, like I said, only 50 points. I got 89 in game week 1, so a big drop. But I still got a green arrow, so if you're going to have a bad week and come away with a green arrow, I don't think you can complain too much. Hopefully there's bigger weeks to come as we get through the season. And my rank did increase from 343k up to 229,000. So obviously it's still early in the season, and you can go up and down in rank quite easily because the points are so close together. But always nice to get a green arrow. So 139 points is what I'm on total. Just quickly running through the team. So Pope got 3 points. Wasn't necessarily expecting a clean sheet against Arsenal, but did get a few saves and was very close to getting a bonus point as well, which is basically why I like the 4.5 million keepers. Lucas Dean, 11 points, which was really good. Obviously, he did come off potentially an injury, but we think it's actually not too bad, and just a little bit precautionary. So we'll have to see what happens there. But obviously, he's been on fire, 2 clean sheets and an assist already in 2 games. So really happy that I picked him in the end. Van Dijk and Robertson, very frustrating. I'm going to talk about that more in game week 3 when we look at kind of transfers and stuff. But it is annoying that they lost that clean sheet, especially the way that it happened with Adrian. Kind of just basically messing up. I used a different sort of language on Twitter, which I won't use in this video, but he did mess up, which is frustrating. Zinchenko only got the 1 point. Obviously, Lucas Moura did help get rid of the clean sheet as well, getting the second goal. So it's nice that he came off the bench, but obviously it's a bit frustrating that he didn't start. And again, I'm going to talk about him a bit soon. But Zinchenko only got 1 point. But Spurs, to be fair, I think they only had 1 shot in the box. Obviously, Lamella's goal was from outside the box. So I think Man City can be a little bit annoyed they didn't win the game or keep a clean sheet in that one. But it's what happens sometimes. You need a few shots to score a goal at the end of the day. Perez only 2 points. Obviously, a lot of people getting worried about him. And I do have transfers to use this week, so we've got some very interesting news about him. Sterling with 6, carrying on what we did in the first game. Only the 1 goal, of course, but it was against Spurs. And I think Man City got some really good fixtures to come, so Sterling's looking great. And Salah captain was unfortunately a blank. Mane looks on good form. Lots of stuff on Twitter about how he's outscored Salah in 2019. Stats-wise, he's keeping up with him. So let's see how he does for the rest of the season. And you could save 1 million. So Salah, a little bit of people starting to think about getting rid of him. I'm not thinking of doing that just yet. But it is a bit annoying that he blanked. And the Bournemouth boys came through. Wilson just with another assist. So he has returned twice in a row, albeit not a big haul. And King got the penalty as well, which was nice. So good to have them, but obviously they got Man City next week. So let's look at how my team's shaping up and what transfers I've made for this week. So I have corrected the squad value now. It's exactly the same as it looks like on the FPL page. So my squad value is currently 100 million. I got 0.2 million in the bank. So a couple of my players have gone up in price, Sterling being one of them. I've got 2 free transfers because I didn't make any in game week 2. So going into game week 3, Pope obviously stays in goal. I'm not going to keep talking about that too much because I'm not looking to transfer the keeper. Already got 1 clean sheet, and like I said, almost got a bonus point from the amount of saves he got. So I'm pretty happy with that. And if I can ride out the first few fixtures, then Burnley have got some pretty nice ones to come. In defence, I'm really hoping that Lucas Dean is fit and ready to play. I really don't want to transfer him out. And like I said, I've already made my transfer. So what I don't need is Lucas Dean to be injured. So that is a bit of a risk. And I'm going to talk about why I made the transfers early in a minute. But obviously, he plays Aston Villa away, and Everton's still got good fixtures up until about game week 6. So I'm definitely looking at holding on to him. I think they're the only team that have kept 2 clean sheets so far and not been scored against. So Everton looking good. Van Dijk and Robertson. This is a really tricky one. I think people are looking at wildcard, and I think you definitely drop a Liverpool defender. Not too sure if they're going to get a clean sheet against Arsenal. There's usually lots of goals in this Liverpool-Arsenal fixture since Klopp has been at the helm. And then they've got 2 good fixtures after that, but then it gets really tricky for them. So I'm not outwardly looking to get rid of him just yet. I'm going to hold on because I've started with them and I've got other fires to put out. But it's definitely a worry with Adrian in goal, not as comfortable on the ball. And I think if you're thinking about getting rid of 1 Liverpool defender, I'm still not sure about getting rid of both. If you did double up, if you're looking at getting rid of 1, I don't really see any harm with it. Zinchenko definitely keeping Bournemouth away. I think Man City, I really want 4 Man City players. I want 2 defenders and I want Sterling and De Bruyne. They just look so good. Just not going to concede many goals this year. Going to keep a lot of clean sheets again. So Zinchenko still looks good. I don't think there's too much chance of him losing his place just yet. Maybe didn't look great against Spurs, but it was a more difficult fixture. So I think he'll be okay going forward. And I'm probably going to play Lundstrom. I benched him last week, got 14 points. So maybe it's a little bit of chasing points. But I just think when you see who I put on my bench later on, I think there's a chance for a clean sheet against Leicester. They've not exactly been free scoring yet. And Sheffield United have done well defensively. I think they're in the top 5 for the amount of shots conceded. So they're doing really well there. And obviously he's playing in midfield, so he's got some attacking threat as well. So I think I'm going to play him this week. So I don't usually play 5 at the back, but needs must. And when I go through my transfers, I'll show you kind of what the rest of the team is looking like. So these are the transfers that I've made. I've taken a -4. I've made 3 transfers in total. I had 2 freebies. I've taken Lucas Moura out, Wilson and Perez, and I've brought in De Bruyne, Pukki and Mount. Now, am I 100% happy with it? I don't know if I am. I'm a little bit of a cautious manager, a safe manager. There's a chance that Lucas Moura plays this week. But at the same time, Son is back, Lamella's fit and going well. Lo Celso's there as well. Ali could be back soon. There's Ericsson to contend with as well. So there's lots of players vying for midfield spots at Spurs. And because he got benched against Man City, albeit that was for a more defensive move, so they could play Sissoko out wide instead. And he did come on and obviously do the business for Spurs, getting that goal from the corner. But he's going to be a worry for me week in, week out. So I don't think yes, I would like to keep him for Newcastle, but longer term, probably one to get rid of. Perez, I'm a little bit... I'm not unsure about getting rid of him because he hasn't looked good, I don't think, for Leicester. And Leicester haven't been looking good as a unit, but they have obviously had 2 tough games to start with. So I knew that when I bought him, that there was a chance he didn't get anything. And it was going to be game week 3 and 4 that I wanted him to, but I needed to downgrade him to fund the other 2 moves. And Wilson's got Man City. I didn't want to play Wilson and King this week. I always knew that. Lucas Moura may not even start, and I really wanted De Bruyne in. He's looked so good in the opening 2 games. It's hard to watch Man City without him. I do think double Man City defence could be good as well, but I've gone for a tap because they're going to score loads of goals as well as keep loads of clean sheets. I think Pukki has got good underlying stats, has as many shots in the box as Sterling. Can he keep that up? The fixtures aren't great, I don't think. Chelsea at home and Man City at home in the next 3 fixtures. And they've also got 3 away games in the next 5. So they're not perfect, but Norwich are quite attacking. That's how we've seen them start. He's already scored against Liverpool, so it doesn't get much tougher than that anyway. So I was quite happy to bring him in and ride the price increases. Now, I have made these transfers earlier. I did them on Monday night, which is a big risk because there could be injuries and stuff. Lucas Dean could be out, so I know I'm taking a risk, but it's the start of the season. I want to play a bit more aggressively. And if it does all go to pot, I can always pop the wildcard. It's not necessarily what I want to do. But hopefully there won't be too many injuries. Obviously there's no other matches, but there could be training ground injuries and stuff like that. So Wilson has gone just because I needed the money, and Perez had to fund this move as well. I needed a 6 million midfielder. I bought in Mount. It could have been Trossard. I think it's pretty close. Obviously Mount has played 90 minutes now for Chelsea, and he is kind of Lampard's boy, playing number 10. A little bit of goal threat as well. Obviously we saw him score last week. Now there is obviously a chance that he gets rotated at some point. Maybe Barkley plays there. But because he's played 90 minutes, I was confident enough to bring him in. 2 next fixtures are nice, better than Trossard, which is another reason to get him. And I do think the wild card will probably come out by about game week 4, game week 5 anyway. So I thought I'd go for the short-term fixtures. If I have to hold him longer, then so be it. Hopefully Chelsea are doing well. So they're the transfers I made. Let's take a look at how that looks all together with the whole team. So it's actually a 5-4-1 that I'm playing this week. Pukki up front on his own. I never thought by game week 3 that Pukki would be leading the line of my FPL team on his own. I'm benching King just because he's playing Man City, and I don't think many players get many points against Man City, so I'm taking the risk that Lundstrom will potentially get a clean sheet, potentially get attacking returns, and who knows, maybe even get both 2 games in a row. So that's why I'm playing Pukki up front and benching King. Obviously, I do like the look of the midfield now that I've got De Bruyne and Sterling. I think they're going to do well against Bournemouth and for the next lot of fixtures. Just to quickly touch on the wild card, because I know a lot of people are thinking about that. I can justify it to myself. I think Zinchenko long term, am I always going to be fully confident he's going to start? Maybe not, although I do think for the shorter term he looks okay. Double Liverpool defence, like I said, I think you can get rid of one of those, so I could get rid of one of those in wildcard. Lucas Dean, if he's injured, then it might force me to pot the wildcard. But the one player I don't have that I would quite like right now is maybe a Man United defender, although I'm not sure they're a big rush to get one in versus the defenders I've got. At least the ones that I could replace them for. Obviously, I'd love to do Lundstrom to Wan-Bissaka, but there's a bit of money involved in that. And obviously Martial as well, but it takes a bit of money to go from Mount to Martial. So I'm trying to stick to the mantra that you can't have everyone. I've looked at teams to have Son in there as well in that midfield, and it just gets a bit expensive. So I just don't think I'm confident enough in who I want to bring in, because I just don't know if we've had enough info yet. If Liverpool do manage to get a clean sheet against Arsenal, albeit I know it looks tough, then they've got 2 nice fixtures. They could get another 1 or 2 in, and suddenly over the next 3 fixtures they could be really good. So I don't think there's a rush to bring in many other players. I think my team looks pretty good as it is. Captaincy, I'm going for Sterling, better fixture than Salah, although Salah has been really good against Arsenal and it is at home, so I don't think Salah is a bad captain option this week. And obviously I don't have Kane, but he just doesn't fit in with the players I've got at the moment. So I do think he could do well against Newcastle, but I just don't have the funds to bring him in, so I'm going to go with that. But Sterling, I think against Bournemouth, has got a really good record, and absolutely no reason not to captain him. Could go De Bruyne, I think he's been ticking over nicely, but I think Sterling's got that more explosive ability than De Bruyne. Obviously, De Bruyne does assist a lot and does get bonus when he assists, but I think Sterling's got more goal threat. He's usually in the box a little bit more and stuff like that. So I'm really liking how the team's looking right now. There's obviously a chance that I could wildcard in game week 4 or 5 and completely change it up. I am riding a bit on Liverpool defence. If they don't get me any clean sheets in the next 2, then suddenly it's looking pretty hard to keep them. But otherwise, that's my team. 5-4-1, King on the bench, and Sterling captain for sure. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the team. Am I right to bench King? Was I right to make the transfers early? Have I made the wrong transfer? Should I have looked at Martial, Wan-Bissaka, maybe Trossard instead of Mount? Let me know in the comments below. If you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a like. It's a weekly video I do every single week, so make sure you subscribe as well. Hit the notification bell when you know when they're all going live. There's a bunch of other weekly content that I do as well as live streams as well. So if you are new around here, make sure you stick around, hit that subscribe button. Give it a like if you haven't already. Leave a comment below and I will catch you next time.